And I think, with whatever's going on in the world right now, there is a silver lining as well. And that is that if you look at the tariff schedule, Singapore obviously is at the lowest end of the spectrum compared to our other regional peers. And I think we can stand to benefit from that, especially if some manufacturing spills over here. I mean, maybe not low-end manufacturing because we're too expensive for that. And, we also don't have the kind of labor for that as well. But maybe more higher-end manufacturing, stuff that used to go to, say, the likes of Vietnam or Thailand, for instance, may come more to the side, at least maybe in terms of assembly goods. And maybe we can capture some of that. So there are opportunities as well, despite all the doom and gloom.
Definitely.
There are opportunities. And, I think that's probably something that the skills future should be nuanced or packaged at to say, look, these are the pockets of opportunity. And I do hope someone comes out to say what these might look like and maybe point people in that direction as well.
I think that's a good point. Mal, when I was invited for this thing, while I was reading up, not too many, good news, but I am, an optimist, and I try to look for some good news amidst this thing. And is there any? I think we have to be realistic and try and see if we can, because I think as a human being, we live on hope, right? So if we don't have one, then it's going to be very depressing. So, but looking at it, then I found a few. Now, first and foremost, the whole world is now shouting tariffs, but not everyone, like you rightfully said, would impact everyone equally, right? We are lucky with the low end of the tariffs. I think our two things that helps us, our strategic location plus our FTAs in the region would definitely help us in that sense. So we wouldn't get the full brunt of what others would. That's number one. And number two, I think historically speaking, I think we have had always, the government has been responsive, always has to, call it spike. COVID was a very good example, a lot of new initiatives that has to be introduced. So we are a responsive government. I think we need to acknowledge it. So if things get worse, I'm sure they would be definitely looking at the coffers and say what else we could do. I think that's something we can be sure of. The next thing that yesterday I read that Sing $1 is to 1.23 Aussie dollars today. I think we need to take advantage of that, because Sing dollar parity, or at least the strong dollar, would help us to cushion some of the impacts of the tariffs. Right? It's going to cost less to buy Aussie product today versus yesterday. That plus, whether you like it or not, while I was talking to my colleagues in the organization, and we have decided to come up with a mantra to help those who come to us for help. One of them is, we call it MAS 123 line. It's a funny thing, not the central bank. It's like, first thing is to monitor your expenses. You got to monitor. If you do not know where you're spending, or like you rightfully said, last minute expenses. And I've seen people spending on expensive sunglasses. It's really a moment to us, right? And secondly, identify areas to save. Where can you save, right? I think, for example, you take the home brands in NTUC, I think it costs slightly lesser than, a foreign brand or etc. And obviously, the next thing is to, you must have a sustainable consumption habit. You have to adopt, right? So I think if we could try and reiterate that in some of our messages, I think this is some hope to look for in these things. And the other things I look at is, seriously, Singapore transport, excellent. Is still one of the most affordable in the world. I'm talking about public transport, right? So I think we should be using well-connected anywhere in the world today. Anywhere in Singapore today, you can take an MRT or a bus. I think if you have to, you have to. And then lastly, but not thinking, I think if you look at it, this disruption would give us an opportunity for innovation. All right? So are we going to look more at homegrown consumables? Right? I think it's for us. I think we see some in the HDB blocks already. Some people are growing some stuff.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, I think we're starting small. We have got different forms of hydroponics thingy. So I think this will force us into some form of innovation where I think then the skills futures and the other trainings can come in very handy.
That's interesting. Going back to basics, and I think every single cent saved matters at this point in time. Right? I mean, I know that when I lost my job last year, we tightened some things. I mean, I don't think we went completely frugal.
No.
But some areas where we tighten, like less outings with the kids, more regional holidays rather than global holidays, going nearby, more stuff at home. And in fact, it was fun because instead of going out all the time and bringing the kids to play areas and whatever not, we started doing more things at home, playing board games, and I think, ironically,
Well, this year they're giving an arts voucher too, right? So
Exactly.
you get to the place, the culture.
exactly,
Culture
exactly.
pass.
So I think every cent matters.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right, Edmund.
I think just echoing what Raj said as well, I like it because I think we all can take a good hard look at ourselves when it comes to finances.
Yeah.
And I guess it's every downturn or challenge or problem, it presents those opportunities for us to relook at how we do things at an individual level.
Yeah.
And I like his acronym or MAS.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Monitor your finances.
Very
Because I
apt.
get very apt, and also I think being very detailed and also being very honest with yourself on what you spend. Because I think monitoring your expenses and what you spend is also a function of expectations.
Yeah.
I mean, I have 4 kids. I
Yes.
also know the expenses will be high, but it's also a function of what, as a parent, I choose to send them for.
Excellent.
And I guess, once you made certain commitments, then you fulfill those commitments, but you also need to balance it against like long-term savings you need to have as well.
Yeah.
Right. And the last point, I guess, you got to take things we all are taught the different theories and the concepts of financial planning. But I mean, it's a discipline to be able to do it, want to do it on a sustained basis.
Yeah. No, that's a good
So
point.
Mal, I ask you then, are
Yeah.
you buying on the dip?
Well, right now, I think firstly the dip is going to continue, so I don't think it's a good way to, good time to get in yet.
Yeah.
But also you need to have enough resources. So I
Yeah,
say
definitely.
right now it's financial planning more than investing for the future.
Yeah.
So until things look up, I think that's going to be the way forward for me personally. But
I think one point as well, I guess, as I think about it, I think with any like cash transfer or any financial planning people do, things take time.
Yeah.
Right. I think people need to be patient. Besides being hopeful, I think people also need to be
patient.
patient.
Very much so.
All right. That, things will get better.
Yeah.
All right. And I think you may feel the pinch today, but there's help coming tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right. And I guess what's more important is that's happening and that you know where to look. And when you do need help, please call out for help.
Yeah.
Right. Because there are enough agencies and people around to give you that help. And I guess, when you do approach for help, also I think be clear on the ask, all right, and be receptive to suggestions as well. Because sometimes I guess, when you ask for help, what you ask for may not be exactly what you get. But I guess it's help nonetheless. And I guess it's with the intention of helping you in the long run too.
yeah, no, that's great. I mean, I think
Very well
you're
said.
right. In the long run, I mean, we really see signs that wages are going up in the right direction. Inflation is coming down in the right direction. So maybe just give it a bit more time.